So, good morning, friends. Today, let's talk about chapter number 1, The Last Lesson by the French author Alphonso Daudet. We'll have discussion on three main points. First, we'll talk about the story, then the theme, and then we'll go to the characters, followed by the Q&A from the exam point of view. First, go to the story. It's a story based on Franco-Prussian War, when the erstwhile Prussia captured two districts of France, Alsace and Lorraine. It also talks about a school, a French school to be specific, run by a French teacher, M. Hamel. The story is narrated by a young French boy. His name is Franz. Little Franz. The word little has a pun in it, as we discuss later. So this little boy Franz is running and rushing to reach his school, though he is reluctant, as there are so many things which he has not prepared for the first lesson on French class. He was not aware that it was going to be the last lesson taught in French language by a French teacher. As he approaches the school, he passes by the city bulletin board, the notice board, and he saw a little herd of people gathered there talking about some bad news on the board. As he was hurried to the school, somebody called him, "Hey, little bub, you'll find enough time to reach school. Don't be in such a great hurry." Of course, he didn't get the words, as he was not aware what was there in the school waiting for him. He was surprised to see the school looked like Sunday holiday school. There was no hustle and bustle. Note down the words, hustle and bustle. No commotion. No prayers said in unison. Every day he used to depend upon this little hurry-burry to reach his class, though he was generally late for the school. But that day, it was not to be. It was a series of surprises for the little boy. It was pin drop silent, all classmates already in their seats. The teacher, M. Hamel, was already about to begin the class. He had his dreaded iron ruler in his hand, but that day he was not in a mood to scold little Franz for the delay. The class begins as soon as little Franz reached his chair. What he saw there was one more surprise. His teacher, M. Hamel, was wearing special festive dress. And it was a big surprise because only on inspection days he would do that. Another big surprise was present at the back benches. All the back benches were occupied by the senior members of the village, the houses, the headman of the village. All those senior aged members were carrying the primers with them, and they were trying to learn their mother tongue for one last time. As the teacher began his class, the last lesson, the first words came to little Franz as a thunderclap. "Children, this is going to be our last lesson in French language. Why? The little boy failed to grasp. He was listening with great shock when the teacher began the last lesson. The little boy heard the pigeons talking, and he also heard about the order from Berlin, as the teacher informed that this is going to be the last lesson in French language, as the order from Berlin has compelled them only to learn German language from a German teacher, and no French language and no French teacher from the next day. As a little kid, Franz wondered, will they make the pigeons coo in German language too? Funny, bitter, sad. Then the teacher gradually inspired the class to remember the significance of their mother tongue and instilled in them the patriotism. He taught them two words, France, Alsace, Alsace, France. France is Alsace, Alsace is France. He also taught them the basic shapes of French letters, as if bringing them back to their roots. And everybody was very serious. Surprised though, the little boy Franz understood everything so clearly, because he could see the courage, the honesty, the sincerity in the last lesson taught by the French teacher in the French language. The teacher also expressed his great patriotism and love for French language by calling it the clearest, the most beautiful language in the world. And as long as all the French people hold it in their heart, it will be the key to their freedom, their independence. And the class looked impressed. All the three stakeholders in the class, the students, the teacher, and the parents, the villagers, had mixed feeling. They were anxious, sad, but at the same time there was reproach, sorry feeling for the missed classes, missed opportunities to learn and respect their mother tongue. And now it was getting too late. They blamed themselves for keeping everything for tomorrow. Tomorrow. Now there was no tomorrow for them, sadly. M. Hamel concluded the class on a very strong note. He wrote as big as possible in bold letters on the board the national slogan of France, Vive la France, live long France, France Zindabad. Without saying a word, putting his head on the wall, the brave teacher gestured the students to leave the class. He did not wish to show the tears in his eyes to the class. The class ended, but the flame is past. Now the students and the villagers will carry that message of French language, and they will all be remembering this last lesson all their lives. As the last class was going on, students were listening to M. Hamel's sister preparing to shift his luggage from Alsace to the next destination. They all were touched by the background, and they were feeling sorry for the old man who had served the school for 40 long years. The last lesson was a great source of inspiration and help to keep their self-esteem high in the days of defeat and dark. That's the story of the last lesson. Let's have a quick look at the theme. Patriotism is the primary theme in the story, and which is highlighted and stressed by M. Hamel, the teacher, the protagonist. The narrator of the story also emphasizes the theme of patriotism, love and respect for the people, for the motherland, for the mother language. Another important theme discussed here is linguistic chauvinism. It means extreme love and respect of our own language and extremely equally opposite hate and dislike and aversion for other languages, which is a social and psychological disease. It's okay we respect and love our mother tongue, our language. That doesn't give us any right to insult, disrespect and dislike other languages. We must learn linguistic coherence, linguistic harmony, linguistic unity. The lesson talks about another important theme, and that theme is courage. The teacher M. Hamel, through his own character and his actions, deeds, behavior, and the conduct and demeanor in which he conducts the last lesson to the best possible. It shows how the duty is put ahead of all other business. He never treated his school as a job, as a profession. He was married to his school. The school, the children were like his own life and his own breath. He looks at those students and the tall trees outside in the garden, and his eyes are traveling into the time. He remembers 40 long years when he first planted those trees as saplings, and how those children he taught were also saplings. Today, the children have not just grown into tall trees, but they also have their birds, nests, ideas, strong wings, and they are on their journey for the destinations. M. Hamel will move to the new place out of France by the order from Berlin, but the message will stay in the hearts of all the villagers and all his students. The last lesson is a memorable journey of courage, patriotism, and the very inspirational bond of love, respect between a school, the alma mater, the students, the teachers, the parents, and in all, the wonderful thing we call as education. I hope this last lesson will bring lot of joy, lot of help, and lot of courage in your lives. Let's have a few important questions from exam point of view. You should keep M. Hamill's character ready, character sketch of the teacher, his personal features, his 40-year bonding with the school, with the students, his spatial appearance for the last lesson, and his great message to his students. You can also keep in mind the character of narrator Little Franz and the villagers. The theme of linguistic chauvinism can also be one of the expected questions. And last, we'll just keep in mind, though the chapter is titled The Last Lesson, it is actually the first lesson of your 12th class textbook. So let's rejoice and start the journey. Thank you.